Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone that is listening. I actually just want to say thank you to everyone that's been following along, giving me feedback, subscribing to YouTube, following me on Instagram, kind of giving me some tips and tricks on how to better this. Hopefully, I'll eventually get to a point where you know everyone likes it and we're getting people in here that really interest the public and everyone wants to hear from. And I think that's someone we have here today. It's a very interesting person. She's getting ready to do her grand entrance. We're gonna have Stephany. All right, let me plug you in.
Plug me in to the mix.
Bam. You good now?
Yep, it's handy
Get
dandy.
get your. You could get closer to the mic. You don't have to be afraid.
Hello, everybody.
All right, all right. Stephany, what's up? How are you? How's it going?
What's up, Christian? I'm just out here working hard, representing all ladies, especially in the 805. This is better.
I could do that. There we go.
Dang, we're up close and personal.
See, we want people to feel like they're next to us or we're next to them. So,
Right?
Women Empowerment Expo, right?
Talk to me.
I think that's a huge,
It is.
huge thing. I was just looking at how SneakerCon started the other day.
SneakerCon.
Yeah. And it was all because one guy thought, you know what, there's Comic Con.
Mm-hmm.
People get together for this. So I should just make a SneakerCon.
Right.
So then I was thinking of, you know what, the the Expo.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of the same thing. How did it start, or how did you start with it?
How did I start? So I got invited to the very first Women's Expo last year in March. It was March 3rd because my sister was a part of it.
Mm,
So my sister, all my life, my oldest sister, Yadi, she's been like a mentor and like an inspiration for me. All my other sisters have been too.
mm-hmm.
But she, out of like the whole family's been on her case about just like really overcoming adversity and struggles to overcome like different types of obstacles and just
Mm-hmm.
to really succeed in life. So she became a life coach.
Like she's presently a life coach.
Yeah, she's certified. So if
Oh,
you
wow.
guys need a life coach,
Plug her in, plug her.
yeah, she would be a great person to speak to. So
Mm-hmm.
she had an event, or no, she had a table at Christina's very first event in Ventura. And she invited me and all my sisters. And at that time, I was going through like, I would say a cloudy time.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't too happy with where I was at, even though I was working and I was in school. And I went to the event and I heard Christina and Kat, you guys know from Q95.9.
Mm-hmm.
I heard them speak and it was a different type of vibe.
Okay.
Like women to women, like girls to girls, like on a different level that I hadn't really experienced with my own friends or in high school or in college. And I was like, how do I become a part of this? Like, what's the secret here? Because they all seem like they kind of just evolved into this different level of like being happy that I wanted to be happy in, like with my flaws too.
Mm-hmm.
So after that, I turned into stalker mode and I was just
Nice.
looking for Christina online everywhere. Literally, I was like, how can I find Christina? How can I work with her? So I found her on Instagram. I found her on Facebook. And I started following her event timeline. And I went to another event called Wine and Wealth. And she was there at a table. And I was like, oh my God, this is literally my chance. And we just started talking and we hit it off. She gave me a drink ticket and I'm like, I made it. And then she gave me her number and she mentioned some projects she had coming up. So I texted her one day and I'm like, how can I help you? Because I was so done at my old job.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I'm ready for more because I felt at my other job, my creativity and all my ideas were shut down.
Mm.
And being that I had male bosses and maybe one female coworker who was kind of toxic to me in that relationship at work, I felt like I wasn't really going to go anywhere. And I was like, I'm ready to get out. And when I met Christina, I was like, this is it. So then she's like, meet me at the annex at the collection. And that was around this time last year. And now we've gone through a lot. And now we're going to Atlanta.
Wow. So I mean, we're gonna get into all the all the details for everyone that's listening that may not necessarily know exactly what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But before that, I want to take it back to a younger you.
Oh.
Because now with what you're doing
Mm-hmm.
and the fact that you're a creative person, I want to know how you were how you were before growing up. What is it that you wanted to do when you were young?
Okay. Before, dang, I used to want to be a parole officer in high school. But when I was really, really like young, like elementary
Yeah,
or
you just
middle school.
yeah.
Okay. I think since I was younger, I always wanted to research a lot of stuff. And as I grew up, it just kind of evolved into different things. So I think the parole officer stemmed from I think issues that teenagers face.
Okay.
And now through college, I studied social sciences and like a little bit of psychology and communication. So I feel like tying it all together, it just kind of fell into really more of a feminine and female aspect of research. Starting from like when you grow up really young, thinking that you can achieve certain things or overcome certain adversities or behave a certain way, to now feeling like, all this time I really could, but it was this whole time being closed off or shut down because of society's expectations or their norms or this type of template that you kind of grow into.
So that kind of gray period where we're young and we, mentally we're like, what? I guess it's unfortunate, but it really kind of goes more for women to when, you're young and you feel like you can do everything. And then as you start getting older, you kind of start put down a little bit more. You know what? The guys start shining more or get more attention. So then you start kind of doubting yourself.
Yeah. Or they kind of discourage you or shut down certain ideas that you may have. I know from personal experience at my other job, they wanted me to invest in some social media and marketing, but they didn't want to invest money into it. And from a perspective of somebody who's going into like entry level marketing and social media, in a business that was mainly males as my management, I could be resourceful to the point where you also need to invest in your business to, bring more in or to get more out of it.
Yeah.
So
what do you mean by they didn't want to spend money on like social, like how were they going to market?
I mean, we had some social media investment, but as far as, let's say they put me on a project to drive in more traffic through social media, let's say via Facebook or Nextdoor. And you know how you can boost posts and attract more audience? You just have to do a small payment. Okay, not even that could we do.
Oh, okay.
And, getting even door hangers to distribute, which we ended up doing. You can distribute those around neighborhoods and you get calls. That took a long time to do. And it was just the response rate to do things that could benefit the business took a while. And I just feel like they wouldn't understand my perspective of we can do this to make the business better.
So you were trying to push all these ideas.
Yes.
But then they were just like, no, it's not going to work, or, that's the wrong investment that we should look into. Which is weird because, how long ago was this?
This was, I quit that job last April. But I had been working there for like a year and a half, so maybe like about 2 years ago.
Still, 2 years ago, it's
social media is a big thing, and it's
which it's really weird for any organization to think that they either don't or could get away with marketing on social media either without like really, because I mean now I don't know if you follow Gary Vee, but he kind of talks a lot about boosting like Instagram and Facebook, how it's really inexpensive right now
It is so
to
inexpensive.
how it's gonna get in the next 5 years.
For sure.
So a lot of his biggest things is just kind of like it's cheap now, do it now.
Now,
So even 2 years ago, for them not to want to, that I guess that's why kind of it gets in your head like, okay, are you saying this because it's not a good idea, or are you saying this because I'm a woman proposing this idea that maybe you didn't think about?
that's true.
So that kind of ties back in. So for the people that are listening and may not know, tell me exactly what the expo is. What is it about? Like, what's the main message of it?
So the main message of the expo is for women to feel comfortable to come and unite, to ask questions, to put your message out there, whether it be through your business, whether it be through a speech, if you're a poet, uh, whether you're a creative, whether you want to be a sponsor, you have a business, or you're in a major organization supporting women founded business or children, because we're also going to be working with kids at the events now. It's also a platform for women to showcase their business if they've never had a chance to. If you need to make those connects to start your business, to strategize the way your business plan needs to be ran, no matter how old you are, especially because we really want to focus on pushing young kids to know that they can start things really young, that they can achieve jobs that are, not in their, I guess, not talked about as much in high school, as far as the creative side and
Yeah.
like artsy and stuff. And it's also just, it's a fun, it's fun for women, it's fun for kids, it's beneficial. You get, if you have a business where you sell merchandise, you can make a profit from being there as well. And then it's also great for students, I feel like, because we're going to have a lot of volunteers. And I think it's great for girls to hear all these speakers on social issues that are present, especially here in the county. So if they hear it from role models that are also around the county, maybe they'll feel inspired to push a little bit harder.
Okay, what's the official name of the expo?
It's the Women's Empowerment Expo.
The Women's Empowerment Expo. Okay, and is that? I mean, I just want to hear from you. Is that kind of like a kind of feminist agenda, like kind of trying to push, or is that?
It's not a feminist push. It's welcome to men too. Guys are welcome for sure. It's just more women speaking out on things that don't get talked about often, especially like mental abuse, sexual abuse. There's a lot of resources that are going to be there for things like that, especially women who struggle financially, or women who struggle with kids. It's going to be really resourceful as well as motivating with the speakers.
What would you consider women empowerment to actually be?
Women empowerment is, it's not being feminist. It's just really owning your confidence and who you are and what your passion really is. So no matter what anybody says. You're like, can you elaborate?
No, I'm thinking like
So
no matter what anyone says, as in people's opinion towards your goals.
yeah, as in like society, because we're all entitled to the same opportunities, right?
Yeah.
So if you follow that fire that's just really burning inside you, even if you're scared, because just over this year, I've learned that just say yes, even if you're scared. Because whether it falls through, you fail, or you succeed,
Mm-hmm.
there's always a lesson that you learn that's valuable and it ends up helping you for the next time. And you use that as a building block to keep moving forward, to keep empowering yourself, to keep like reaching each goal.
Yeah, yeah. When so all that sounds great, you know.
Right.
It all sounds very textbook. Textbook.
Textbooky.
Yeah. H- how does that translate to, I don't know, you you being out like at the club?
Oh no.
Like,
When I said that, I was just kidding.
no, I mean, I want to know, because I feel like there's this whole stigma of like women going to the club together and
Mm-hmm.
then kind of like forming a wall towards everyone, you
Oh.
know, and everyone was just like, oh, why are you even at the club if you're like not gonna, like, well, I mean, guys are like, why are you even here if you're not gonna,
Dance with me.
yeah. Yeah.
You know what? That's probably why I don't go out as much. Want to know why? Okay. One of the last times I went to the club, it was at Bombay's in Ventura. I'm sure everybody watching
Probably.
knows about this little spot. And I went with my cousin, two cousins, and one of her friends. And we were dancing, right? And this guy just comes and he points at this girl who's just twerking like crazy. And I'm just like, man, I can't do that. I was dancing, but I wasn't dancing that crazy. And he's like, that's how you need to be. And I just looked at him and I'm like, what do you mean that's how I need to be? Like, I don't need to be like anything. Like, I didn't come with you to be like that. I didn't,
Mm-hmm.
like, I came to have a good time with my girlfriends. Like, the point to come to a club is not because you need to come with the guy. It's to have a good time and dance with the guy, with a group of friends, with your family. It's a bachelorette, it's a girls' night out. It could be whatever.
Yeah.
So to hear that and the way he said it, I'm like, wow, if you're just saying it up front like that, I'm like, you must think I'm so wasted that I'm just going to be like, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
let's go. And it honestly bothered me so much. And after that, I just kind of started reducing the amount of times I started going out. And I was like, if I go out and it's gonna be like that, then I'm good.
Doesn't that seem that's something that bothers me?
Yes.
The fact that it's to a point where you would rather not go out to not experience those things. Like, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and it doesn't happen, all the time, but it's I don't I don't want to have to be coming up with these respectful declines or lines
Mm-hmm.
to have to reject things like that. So I'm like, why am I going to put myself in a situation where I don't feel comfortable?
Yeah.
I mean, occasionally having a drink out, it's fun.
Yeah.
But, there's things like that just, it makes you put these barriers or, respond in a certain way when you're in certain environments because you just have to set boundaries and you have to let people know you can't talk to me like that just because
Mm-hmm.
we're at this place.
Did your friends hear that? Or your cousins? Did they hear that?
Yeah.
Did they just like look at him
Yeah,
ugly?
we were like, "Can fuck this
Yeah.
guy,
Yeah.
that." And we continued with the night, but
See,
that was one of the last times I went out. That was last year.
that's. I mean, that happening is not funny, but the whole like story, like, I'm someone that I consider myself a confident person.
Hmm.
I don't really shy away from anything, but like going out, I really hate that club culture.
Yeah.
Like, I hate going out and like having to find someone to dance with, and
Hmm.
the whole night it's kind of like, are you like on the prowl, like who am I gonna dance with?
No, that's
you know.
so
I know,
weird.
I know. It sounds
I
weird.
hate that. It's
That's why,
such an eerie feeling that you
yeah.
feel it almost as soon as you walk in.
That everyone's just like, you know.
That's why
So,
Copper Blues is probably as much as I can do because it's not really like a dance bar. It's like
yeah,
a little bit of both, but yeah.
yeah. But I mean, that I was gonna kind of get to the point that that's why I don't go out, because I hate feeling like that. I
That's
hate. I would rather specifically go out with someone, be like, hey, let's go, because I already know, like, consensual, we're gonna go together, like, we're gonna go have fun,
right.
than to go, because I mean, if you go with a group of guys or guys and girls, right,
Yeah.
sometimes you could, you end up dancing with who you're with, but sometimes you just kind of like do, and it's not like, the guys could just dance on each other.
Yeah.
That's kind of like the double standard.
Uh,
So that's, I don't know, that club culture is just it's not my scene, and plus super expensive, and I don't like the hangovers.
I just think, yeah, at clubs, it can be like that. There's, somebody might say, well, why don't you go to somewhere more sophisticated, like a finer bar or something like that, which is also fine, but that doesn't stop, somebody from just coming over like this close to you. And
Yeah.
like, so what are you doing here by yourself?
Yeah,
Or
like,
not by
what?
yourself, but,
Would you take a drink from someone?
I feel like I almost wanted to say yes. That's so bad, but I've since I've traveled last year, no.
Why? What happened?
I went to Miami last August, and it was just me and my cousins and my sister. And we met a waitress out there, and she told us roofing,
Mm-hmm.
roofing
Yeah.
was a big thing. So my women empowerment, like nature kicked in, and like when we were out dancing or at the clubs and there was like guys around, I was like on super high alert, making sure like our drinks were either be safe, or I would kind of cover them so that
Mhm.
if there was guys close, they wouldn't drop anything like in our drinks, because we're out traveling and it's just girls, there's anything can happen,
Yeah, yeah.
and you can't trust guys. So I'm either always holding my drink
Mm-hmm.
or I'm done with it.
Yeah, yeah. Because I mean, I ask you that because I remember this story from, that my mother used to tell me. Hopefully, he doesn't listen to this part, but he will tell me that like when him and his girlfriend, like the friends, would go out, which I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
He says that they will, like, the girlfriends will like go in and then separate
Mm-hmm.
and go like to the bar and like wait for like a guy to like offer them a drink, and they kind of take the drink and run, and they'll kind of like give it back to like the guys. So everyone was like kind of like drinking for free, right? But it's like, okay,
That's
is that
smart, but that's effed up.
yeah, yeah. It's kind of like, are you using the girlfriend, or are you empowering the fact that as a woman,
She's beautiful and she can get drinks. I think if you're
excluding like the roofing and all that stuff, pretending that everything's like super safe and
yeah. Is this like the boyfriend like using the girlfriend?
I don't know, because I'm thinking,
I'm
if the girlfriend's cool with it, it's kind of smart, like,
If she's cool with it, make those moves.
right? Because it's kind of like, I mean, maybe it's a bad time to use this comparison.
But you know what? I went to a Red Hot Chili Peppers concert, and they offered me a beer. And he just brought it to me. I mean, I didn't see them serve it, so I was like, no, I'm not gonna take it.
Yeah.
Had I seen them serve it and then he brought it to me, I would have probably taken it.
Yeah, because if you saw it.
Yeah. But I think if you're, since you're there, we're your sister, his girlfriend,
Mm-hmm. Right.
I think they're making smart moves.
Yeah, because.
Teamwork.
Yeah, exactly. Or like something that I have such a. I respect it and I understand it, but Wait, how how does it go?
Like using your beauty
Well,
for shit.
I was gonna kind of talk about yeah, which I personally think it's uh, I'm stuck in the middle because I believe that like if you have it, you should flaunt it, and if it gets you free things, like
Yep.
it gets you free things, you know.
Mhm.
But then I think about like private Snapchats or like
Private
yeah,
Snapchat.
like when girls are like, oh, hit me up for my private Snapchat or like kind of stuff like that. It's kind of like, okay, is that an empowerment thing?
Hit me up for my
I mean,
private.
you've heard that, right? You seen that?
Hit me up. I deleted my Snapchat. I still have an account. I haven't used it in the past few months. So is that something new, or you mean like nudes?
Nudes, yeah, basically nudes. Where it's
Oh, like
like,
hit me up for like
yeah,
there's
like
specifically nude accounts.
I mean, I don't exactly know because I've never got one, but it is. I don't know if they're like fully nude or like just really explicit. And you'll see it, like on Twitter or like
They're
on
like those popular thing. Like it's a promo account kind of.
no, not even a promo account. It's just like
A
someone's
local girl.
yeah. So they'll
No.
just be like, oh, $15 a month or whatever, and they'll post like most of the times are like girls are like stripping, which
Ah,
it all kind of goes back to like the like where is it empowering to
okay, I see.
allow them to kind of well not allow them because you have no say in it, but where is it empowering and
Mhm.
where is it like you get me?
I see where you're going. Where is it empowering? I guess in the perspective that they might be in, empowering empowerment to them is obviously the beauty that they're able to see in themselves in and out, hopefully.
Mhm.
Cuz have you heard of those stories or these like porn stars or these crazy girls who they do these this crazy people say crazy like acts or photos or whatever,
Mhm.
but they're like the nicest people in the world and like there's nothing wrong with them.
Like they just
Like
body
that's
positive kind of thing or
that, and maybe like they're like this is as good as it gets for me kind of thing, but they're
okay.
so nice, but that's it for them.
Mhm.
So I think for these women, they think that this may be as good as it can get for them,
Mhm.
but it's not, because
It's
I
not.
don't think they have realized that yet.
Mm.
Because there's a lot more to just your body positive beauty that they can give. And I think that for women who are in that kind of range of, whatever they're doing with their pictures or their videos,
Mhm.
I mean, I wouldn't do it personally, but I think if it's something they enjoy,
More power to them.
yeah, more power to them. But I just know that there's a lot more
Mhm.
beauty than just to the outside for these women.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with that. I have a friend.
Mhm.
When I met her, she was just like, I don't want to say normal because that sounds like if you're not, you know, doing this, you're not normal.
Mhm.
But she was what you would consider like just a traditional person,
Like more
lady. Yeah,
conservative.
conservative.
Okay.
And then she started stripping. And then I mean, I followed her. I follow her on social media,
Mhm.
and I see how her life changed.
Mhm.
And she's like living like this Hollywood life now, and I'm just like, damn, like I wish I could do that. But she just started. I don't know exactly what she does because I don't kind of talk to her about that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
But now I see that she's kind of like making a business outside of her. Like I don't exactly know what she's doing, but
Mhm.
she's taking this to like a whole like more business perspective. Or like
Hmm.
I mean besides her other people here that have taken that route and now
Mhm.
they're like extremely successful.
Mhm.
So now do you think it's like Cardi B? Do people are like, wow, she did it like that? So
Right.
maybe that is a path. Maybe
That
that is a
people want
path.
to take.
Yeah, or people are taking and it's working. is that empowerment? Do we say, go go do this? Is it a stepping
I
stone?
I wouldn't say go empower that specifically.
Mm-hmm.
I think all you can empower people to do is always to just be themselves and do the right, the good. Always do the right thing as best as you can
Mm-hmm.
while remaining true to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I know for some people it can be kind of hard, but for I see what you're saying, how it's becoming like a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And I mean, these people are, they're making money. They're
they're
yeah,
happy.
they're happy. They're not, at least from what I know, or at least what I could see on social media, they're not hurting anyone.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, why not?
Are they hurting anyone?
As far as we could tell, I
Who
mean,
do you think they could, if they could be hurting some people, who do you think they could be hurting?
you know,
From
the,
all the people
yeah,
there that are watching them on platforms, who could they be hurting?
you could say like the younger, the younger female
That's
following.
that's where it gets like, how can we control what the younger following can watch?
You can't unless you're
Because we
over
can't
them.
control what we're putting out there. Because everybody
Mhm.
wants to put everything out there, literally. But I mean, freedom of speech.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny that you say that because that's a battle that I have with Damn, I'm like roasting everyone here. With my sister that I was telling, I'm like, yo, like, look at what my niece and nephew are like watching,
Mm.
because even like Logan Paul, right? My nephew, he's like Team 10, Logan Paul, like they're the best. But then if you actually look at it, you're like, what are you learning from him? Well,
I'm not too familiar. I don't watch any TV
it's YouTube.
anymore.
Yeah,
Oh, it's YouTube?
yeah.
Okay.
He's the guy that filmed someone that had committed suicide and put it on YouTube. Yeah, yeah. So
That's so eerie.
yeah, they do. It's like just these YouTubers that make a lot of money from just being on YouTube,
Posting facts
and
and
then
things, yeah.
the little kids are like, I want to be a YouTuber now. I want to do that, and it's like, I don't know. To me, being a YouTuber, it's like being a filmmaker,
Cool.
but
What do you,
not the kind of stuff that some of these little kids are like watching.
yeah. There's a lot of stuff out there that kids are watching because you give them an iPad and they go straight to YouTube because there's no cable on iPads.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
And the attention spans is just not there anymore. I don't know. Do you have nieces and nephews?
I have 3 nephews. One of them is very experienced with the iPads. We're guilty of have been like, here's the iPad.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think going back to that Cardi B,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
um, even like with guy rappers too, Sway Lee, I think I said that right.
Mm-hmm.
Black Beatles,
Mm-hmm.
my nephew on YouTube with that song, like he knew it word by word.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, he doesn't want to be a rapper, but those lyrics, he was singing them forever. And this is going to sound bad, but he's only 7 or 6. But just through like the music on the radio, my nephew will sing it or he'll say things that are inappropriate to me. And he'll try it in a form it sounds like disrespect, and I'll like have to correct him on that. So I think for girls, when they hear female rappers saying like all these things when they're younger, it's like it kind of sticks in your head.
Yeah.
And I mean, as much as like I love listening to Cardi B on my way to work, when I'm older, it's different. But when you're younger, it's way different too. It sticks way more.
So it's not even about trying to censor the artist or trying to, have them be a Will Smith where you don't cuss on your music, but it's more about
Like protect.
parentals protecting the.
It's both, because then you're kind of limiting the artist from either if they write their own or the songwriter from, writing how they truly feel or just really going out there for it. But I think there's a responsibility for women in the music industry as well as for men in the music industry, and as far as for parents too, because you can control to a certain level what your kids listen to and what they watch, but at the same time you can't, because they're going to grow up, and you just can't as a parent. And as people in the music industry, when all the following you have and the people who are you're still gonna reach, I feel like we should be a little more cautious of what we're putting out there, because it's literally affecting the way people grow up. And it's like people are growing up to think they can be rappers, which is cool. You can be, but
there's more out there.
Yeah, like let them. And you've seen some artists in their music. They're like, they actually mention, when you hit this lifestyle, it's not what you think it is. And I'm like, it's true. I mean, for what a lot of them have said it. So I feel like maybe they should start pushing other careers in their music.
Yeah.
If as cheesy as it sounds, but being a scientist could be cool.
Yeah, no, and it's so funny because I just saw this meme on Twitter today that it was something like, this generation is gonna be the first generation of grandmas that don't know how to sew, and then the female Twitter was like, oh yeah, this generation.
I feel attacked.
Yeah. and the female Twitter was like, well, this is a generation where grandpas are not gonna know how to build a house, which, I mean, it's far-fetched, but
oh my god, that's enough. It's really far-fetched, but it's so
it's true, because everyone
eerie too.
I mean, even myself, I really want to live the rest of my life creating content, creating documentaries, filming. And I think because we're in an era of technology and media.
For sure.
And I do believe that we'll get to a point that we're not going to have enough teachers. We're not going to have enough doctors. We're not going to have enough of all of that things. And it's true, And, the next generation might not know how to sew something. I have friends my age that don't know how to cook. It's like, man, what are you going to do? Just because you're a guy. Like,
in and out.
In and out, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I totally feel you on that. And I think also partially doctor-wise and careers like that is some people make it seem like it's not attainable, but it is, because they see the journey that some life paths take, and like the work it requires, and people either get discouraged or they feel limited to the resources in order to reach some things. But
I think it's the whole instant gratification culture that we're in. People upload a video on YouTube, go viral, get a bunch of followers, and then they're off. And it's instant. Like, everything's quick. Why do you think Vine was so popular?
Why did they take it away?
Why do you think TikTok is so popular now?
TikTok?
Yeah, it's like the same thing as Vine. It just came out of nowhere, because it's like 6 seconds or however many seconds it is, and you're done. And like you're saying, like school-wise, being a doctor, 8-10 years. Being a lawyer.
When I could just be a meme star.
Yeah.
I need to go to Target. That's women's empowerment.
Target.
Finish your work. Finish your homework. Do your gym sesh if you got time for that. Make sure you feed yourself. Make sure you run your Target errands. Do that face mask. Go to sleep.
I have a bad experience with Target. I took a first date to Target one time.
A first date?
Yeah, like the first time we went out, I think we went to the movies, and then I was like, hey, you want to go to Target?
I love Target.
I wanted to see, like, if she would be like, oh, yeah, or kind of, like, trip out. We ended up going.
Nice.
And I was like, whoa, like, this is pretty cool. Well, the relationship didn't work, but it was really cool to, like,
hang out and just see
at
that.
Target and just kind of, like, walk around and see kind of, like, where they're gonna go. Do you
Her
usually?
interest.
Yeah. Like,
That's cool.
so I
Interesting.
think it was a really good, like a good place to see. Like, are you gonna go to the discount aisle or are you gonna go straight for
The
the?
electronics.
Yeah.
Expensive as bitch. No, just kidding.
So let's
You're like a little
empower.
harsh for the first day.
Let's empower people a little bit more. You have a tour. Are you on tour? Is the tour gonna start? How is
Dun, dun,
how does an
dun.
expo go on tour, and where are you going and what's going on?
So an expo goes on tour as soon as you declare that it goes on tour.
That's all
And
you need.
that's what Christina Brophy does. And for everybody watching that doesn't know, she's my marketing manager for the Women's Expo and a lot of other businesses that she has going on. And
Throw some dates at me. Throw some cities. Throw some.
where's my schedule? It's right about
Almost there.
in my pictures. Wow. You know what? Let's just go on Instagram because that's where we have everything saved now. Instagram needs to have files. Do you feel the same?
Do you guys archive a lot of stuff?
Yes.
I need to learn how to do that. Okay.
So last year, the first one, just so we can do a little recap, it was March 3rd in Ventura. Then we had the one in LA this year on the 26th. Now we're going to do Ventura in October. October
Okay.
5th of
That's
this
the next
year.
one that's coming up.
Yep.
Okay.
It's going to be at the fairgrounds, I think. So
Wow.
tell
That's
your friends, tell your family, tell your bays. And then we're going to go to Atlanta
nice.
this Friday.
Oh wait, so that's the next one. So Atlanta.
No, this is we're just going to recruit
Oh, okay.
because
Okay.
the Atlanta Expo is in November 2nd.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah. And then we're going to San Diego for 2020.
2020.
Yeah, so I'm giving you guys like all in advance.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
mark those
and
calendars.
this is, if you want to follow it, this is a nice little way to have an excuse to go on different trips, you know?
Yeah, and make it a girls trip. Make it take your base too, and just be like, okay, babe, I'm gonna go to Women's Expo. You could do whatever you want.
Yeah. Is it free? How do people go? Do you have to get tickets or what's
You do have to get tickets. They're all available online on Eventbrite is what we've been putting them on. If you guys keep up with the page, you can
Which is?
at the Women's Empowerment Expo. Make sure. Yep. And because sometimes we have early bird specials or student promo discounts, or she raffles them on the website or Instagram. And yeah, so San Diego is going to be the route for 2020.
And what if there's someone that's listening that either has a business or wants to partner up, maybe get a table or like a booth? How would they go about that?
So they can go about it either by going on the website or just hit us up on the Instagram page.
Straight DM.
Straight DM, because right now is probably the best time too, because you get better spots when it's
Yeah.
first come first serve usually, and you get the rundown and you just start getting pumped.
All right. Give me your best motivational ending sentence. What would you want to hear as a young 12-year-old Stephany?
As a 12-year-old Stephany, dang, stand tall, girl, stand tall.
I agree with that. I think that's a
Stand
really good
tall.
one. So for everyone that's listening, remember that we are filming this so you could see the faces behind that voice at 101 North on YouTube. Please subscribe. It would really help out. I think people think that the podcast itself is really gonna, it's making me money or anything. But it's not. I don't make
It's
money
helping me.
on anything. YouTube doesn't do money until you're like really big. So I'm just doing this to bring this information to everyone. Kind of, it's a small platform now, but
Linking
showcase
up.
the talent and the people that we have here in the city. But always say subscribe is nice, say follow is nice, say share is nice as well. And remember, if you want to hear anything new, you want to listen to anyone, or you just, maybe if you even want to be on, go ahead and DM myself at the page and we will get you on. Stephany, it was a pleasure having you.
Thank you, Christian. It was a pleasure being on here. We'll be back for show.
I'm back after these messages.
Beep.